I worked with post-drug Trent, you know? So like, we had studio sessions that began at like 10 a.m. You know, so the stories are not that crazy because, essentially because he was so focused on staying clean and all this stuff that it was just, you know, like a workout session, you know, with like a weight room next door or something, you know? The illest thing I remember in the studio with Trent is just by that time, I remember giving Trent the impression that I wanted to give Rick Rubin because most of the shit that I knocked off with Trent, I did in one take. You know, I had built up my chops to the point now where I was like executing shit, like, okay, here we go. So I remember like doing Pedagogue of Young Gods in one take. I remember coming in like near the end of like the 2 months that we spent recording with the song Trigger and executing that in a take, Skin of a Drum. There were tons of songs that were just like one take when I was in the studio with Trent. Normally what he would do is kick me out of the room. Like I'd work on a track musically, lay down some vocals, and then he'd kick me out of the room and he'd add stuff, play with stuff, finesse stuff, and what have you, and call me back to listen. There's a lot that I got from Trent. Working with Trent, you know, working with Rick Rubin was more like a mentor. Working with Trent was like working with a like-minded, like brother. And the coolest thing with Trent was that, I mean, it's a little stupid, but anything I would send to him, he'd become so enthusiastic about. Like our method, for example, was, he was like, yo, if we have little ideas, we should just shoot them to each other. Sometimes we'd be in the same hotel room in different rooms and I'd have an idea of a verse and I'd like shoot him an email with the verse and he'd shoot me an email back with some music, or vice versa, I'd send some music and he'd play with the music and send it back or something. But there was always just this level of enthusiasm that made me as an artist feel really grounded in my choices at that time. Trent just really was beautiful in helping me feel solid as an artist and what I was bringing to the table.
And we're talking about high school and grade school. This is a pivotal time. This is an impressionable time, especially a time where you should be using your creativity and figuring out how to use your creativity along with book smarts.
The father comes up from the back like this and starts like charging Ray and start boxing him. Boom. I mean, like, oh shit, Razak's getting beat up by a kangaroo.
Keep hip hop strong and keep it going and put music, good music back out there to the community.
Like my career isn't comprised of Kanye West or Common only. Blue Collar, whatever we're talking about with J Records, Blue Collar was a classic album.